This government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Shalom, shalom. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Waha, Rechaha Kodash, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai. Honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and other like-minded elders in Israel that teach well, by whom I learned His truth, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom Barakim to the hopeful elect, House of David. Salutation to you, Akim, that are laboring, ministering week in, week out, making your bodies a living sacrifice unto Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, in all truth and sincerity. Right, it's the brother Danny Allah. And yeah, man, UK pushing forth the digital ID, right? Mandatory digital identification, man. And this ain't something we're just hearing about. We've been hearing, about the push for this over the last 3-4 years, even 5 years maybe. Right, but now Keir Starmer, who is the Prime Minister of the UK, is speaking about before the end of his term, right, that they gonna mandate digital IDs, right, which a lot of people are up in an uproar about it, because a lot of people are realizing that this is a breach on their freedom, man, right, and that's exactly what it is, and that's what it's always been. It's always been about control, right? It's always been about control with these devils, right? Nothing's changed. And all of this is the build up, right? Or the road that leads to the MOTB, which is the mark of the beast. This the gradualism, the gradualism towards the RFID, microchip being implanted in every individual upon the earth. This is their plan. This is their ultimate plan. But before that happens, this is the digital ID cards are a way and means to gradually build up to that point. Because if you try, majority of the people ain't going for the ID card, right? The digital ID card. So how much more if you just try to say to the masses, listen, we got to chip all of you up, just like we had your dogs and your cats chipped, right? We want to chip every single one of you on the planet so that we have full control, right, on your comings, your goings, your ins and outs, so on and so forth, right? So this is, like I said, this ain't something new that we're just speaking about now. This is something, that the elders and apostles been telling you for the last 30, 40 years, man. And we're just so blessed enough to be actually seeing these things, which are all biblical prophecy, come to pass in these last days, man. And it's beautiful. Because like he said, man, like Keir Starmer said, he said he's going to make it mandatory. Right, let me play it again quickly.
This government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory.
And remember, I think it's Germany, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they've got some form of ID cards that they've been using for the last year or two because of the influx of migrants into Germany, right? Same thing over there in France, same thing over here in the UK, the mass influx of migrants. Not even just here, right? Babylon too, right? But especially over here in Europe, Greece, Spain, Italy, right? The massive influx on migrants flooding into these countries, man, right?
For the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
So, hey, a lot of people going to be out of a job. Because like I say, the people in uproar about this already. So a lot of people are already losing their jobs, right? There's so many job cuts because of the AI technology taking over a lot of people's jobs. And a lot of businesses, closing, foreclosing, so on and so forth. So there's going to be a lot of people out of a job. There's going to be a lot of people that are not willing to work because they're not going to be willing to receive this so-called mandatory ID. Right? It was the same thing during the pandemic, right? When they said that you had to have certain things to be able to go and fly, either fly, fly away on holiday, or even work in some places. They had the QR codes they were using to go into certain restaurants and stores and whatever have you, right? And it's the same thing we go on today. It's the build up to what we see going on today, right? The push is even more so, man, right?
It's as simple as that.
So yeah, it's as simple as that. You will not be able to work unless you have this digital ID, which is, again, it's all biblical prophecy, pursuant to the book of Revelations, 13th chapter. So let me quickly, before I grab these few articles, let me quickly grab the word mandatory, in case some people don't know what it means. Mandatory, right? So let's get the word mandate first. It says a command, a judicial or legal order, right? An order to commit one's charge, literally to give into one's hand. Right. So you're going to be giving yourself over into the hands of the government, the UK government, or whatever other government that tries to mandate these ID or these RFID identification chips, man. Right. And really, you're already property of the government anyway. You're already property of the state anyway. Whether you understand that, believe that, know it or not. Right. So mandatory. It says the nature of a mandate containing a command. Right. So they're going to command you. In order to work, you're going to have this ID, man. In order to fly away, in order to do anything, to receive hospital care, you're going to have to receive or have this identification card, man, which is going to be digital because everything's going digital. That's the plan. To do away with this fiat currency and just make everything digital, which we see. We see the analog being done away with, man. It basically is done away with, really, right? It says pertaining or to a mandate or one who gives a charge or command. Right. So yeah, man. Obligatory because commanded. Right. Meaning you're gonna be obliged to have this in order to do everything. Right. So you still think you're free, which majority of people still believe you're free. You're free to do what they tell you to do. That's what you're free to do. Do as they command you, which is mandated, right? So so this is big news, and again, we've been hearing the rumors about this for a long while, right? Let me this quickly here, right? Because that's all it is, right? Create the problem, right? Then what? From the problem, there's a reaction, and then the same people that created the problem come with a solution, which is now this identification card, man, right? So there's a post here from Matrix Israel, right, on Instagram, right, and it says problem, reaction, solution. It says that they deliberately orchestrated mass immigration has been working like a dream, which is true. Start speaking about the influx of migrants we see flooding into these countries worldwide. And it just so happens a lot of them, right, by chance, apparently, by coincidence, a lot of them seem to be males between the age of 18 to 35, 40 years old. Fighting age. Which that's not a coincidence. Like whether you're talking about here in the UK, like I said, I mentioned all those other places in Europe, Spain, Italy, France, Germany, over there in Babylon, an influx, man. Africans, Asians, right? Eastern Europeans, right? Major influx of mass immigration. It says, have been working like a dream. The division and the racial antagonism among the 99% has been fomented. Right, exactly, man. And this is exactly what the elites want. This is exactly what the 1% want. They want to create chaos. So that what? So they can bring in their new world order. Bring some sort of order out of the chaos that they've created. And this is what don't filter into people's minds. Right? People in the mindset of, oh, well, if we all rise up against, the state and the governments, the world governments, there's more of us than there are of them. This is exactly what the elites want. Right? And again, it's nothing more than biblical prophecy. Second Ezra's 16th chapter, 15th chapter, man. Right, the uproars of the people, the sedition among men. This is what we see happening. The worldwide protests, right? A lot of people in the uproar because of the amount of immigrants that are coming in and getting free housing, right? Benefits, so on and so forth. And this is exactly all created and designed by the elites, man. And they're using these so-called political leaders, right? Your prime ministers, your presidents, as puppets, as political puppets. So it says the destabilization of society has worked wonders. Now the 1% has the perfect solution, digital ID, which again is all build up or lead up to ultimate control, which is the RFID microchip being implanted inside every man, woman, and child, man. It says a mandatory ID will escalate an already tyrannical relationship between the state and the people, erasing our natural rights, the simple right to not be coerced, and replacing them with state issued permissions, going into those draconian measures, man. Like you say, making it mandatory to where you don't have a choice. Right? It's either you take this or you don't eat. Plain and simple. Right, so let me because this is nothing more than one of Satan's devices. Let me grab that quickly, man. Right, this digital ID card is nothing more than one of Satan's devices. 2 Corinthians 2:11, it says, lest Satan, right, should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Yeah, so this is just another one of his instruments of cruelty, man, to gain control over the masses, over the populations of the earth, right? So it's just another one of his devices that we're not ignorant of. And guess what? Not only us, but a lot of people are not. I know they're now privy to the things that were once hidden by these devils. Whether you're speaking about any one of these other heathen nations, man, they're becoming privy to the ways of Esau, Edom. They're finding out that this is actually the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. And he's not really trying to hide it anymore anyway, because he's desperate. He knows that he has but a short time, pursuant to Revelations 12:12. So again, it says, lest Satan, right, the adversary of the Heavenly Father, the adversary against you Israelites, right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native and Seminole Indians, right, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. That's right, man. So all of us are going to have decisions to make soon, man. This is all part and parcel of the movie. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful time to be alive, man. And these are the things we've been prophesying, starting from the elders and apostles for years, that we see now coming to pass. Right? And everyone's going to have a decision to make in a time to come. Right? Then you got right, so this was breaking news earlier today, right, from Sky News. It says population increased by more than 750,000 in 12 months, mostly due to migration. The UK population has increased more than 750,000 in 12 months, mostly due to migration. So that's a lot of migration. That's a lot of immigrants flooding in to the UK alone. Right? And we know obviously these are just Esau's numbers. He could have pulled them out his ass, but nonetheless, man, this is one of the reasons why people are in such an uproar. Over there in Ireland, you had the rioting over there in Ireland a few months back. Over there in Scotland, here in the UK a week or so ago, right? Mass protests, hundreds of thousands of people taking to the streets protesting against the migrants, protesting against taxations. And it's the same thing all throughout Europe, man. And that's exactly what the elites want. So according to them, their plan is working perfect. This is
So the Prime Minister says we must have digital ID. That's the way we'll stop illegal immigration. Well, think about it. Germany has ID cards, strict ID and checks. It's made no difference at all in Germany, and nor will it here. All that digital ID will be is a means of controlling the population of telling us what we can and can't do, of fining the innocent. And didn't we see it all when we had the pandemic, when you had to have vaccine ID to travel?
It's funny because this is that house divided against itself, and really all it is to create more tension, create more confusion and division among the people, the masses, because this here is Nigel Farage, right? Opposition from the opposition party, right? A politician from the opposition party over here in the UK. And this is what he has to say about Keir Starmer, right? Who is Prime Minister right now.
To do various things. Did that stop the COVID pandemic spreading? Did it hell? All it did was put cost and inconvenience on everybody else. I also worry about massive data banks being held by the government, being hacked by foreign governments, by private companies, by criminals. I do not see a single...
Yeah, which is true, which is true, because we saw that happening. We've seen a lot of that happening over the last few years, man. A lot of data hacking going on. Right, that's why you had a lot of rolling blackouts in certain places across the world because of hackers. Right, I remember you had the I believe it was China or North Korea. They were sending them spy balloons, them spy drones over there into America, or so they say anyway. Right, certain places in Russia were being hacked over there in Babylon too. So this is what happens when everything goes digital, man. This is what happens when you create an AI system that starts to become smarter than you are. Right? So it's true what he's saying. But again, he's just another political puppet that's being used to get the people on board with what he's saying, therefore go against what Keir Starmer's mandating, trying to mandate.
Benefit to the government having digital ID other than them controlling what we do, what we spend, and where we go. And we, in Reform, are wholly opposed to it in every single way.
Okay, Nigel. Yeah, we don't believe you. But, again, that house divided against itself, man. But yeah, he's right. He's right. That's exactly what it is. Another form or ways or means of control. Because there is so many migrants coming in. So what's the answer? What's the best answer, man? Like I say, man, problem, reaction, solution. Right.
Explains that if you sign up for digital ID, it's the last really important decision you make, because your digital ID will be the only thing that your governments, institutions, and anybody authorised by those holding power will recognise you through. So you won't exist anymore. You'll be replaced by a QR code. You are not a number. You're an address.
But that's how it's always been anyway. People are nothing more than a national insurance number in the first place. Stock, collateral, right? That's what the people are in the first place. It's just now they need more control over that stock, right? That's all it is.
To some resources, and that makes it particularly dangerous because those resources can be edited, and one of those fields, for sure, will be your vaccination status. And I'm absolutely sure, because I've seen it written down in multiple documents, that your digital ID will only remain valid if you comply with the conditions of validity. So one of them will be, have you had your latest recommended or mandated jabs? And because of the fact that I'm qualified in toxicology and worked for decades with others in what's called rational drug design, when I look at these jabs, the constituents, I am certain, formally certain, that they were designed to hurt you.
So you see that? So even in order for these digital IDs to be validated and stay validated, there's certain things that are gonna have to be put in place. There's certain things are gonna be checked, like he was going into, whether you've had your jump shot. And if not, and you're not willing to take the next dose or the next batch of whatever it is they're cooking up in the witch's cauldron, right? Then your digital ID gonna be revoked. It's not gonna be valid. Meaning what? You ain't gonna be able to buy or sell. Right? So for those of you that still don't believe that the RFID chip is the mark of the beast, hey man, you gotta wake up, man. Smell the coffee, because this the build up to it. This the gradualism. This is the predictive programming leading up to that point, man. If you can't see it, right? So let me grab this clip here. And I believe this is this ain't a new clip. Maybe this clip's from about a year ago, I believe. Or maybe it is new, because I think the one I'm thinking of is a video about the new Amazon shops that they got out there, right? Which is similar to this one here.
You're on a business trip. You're staying in Greenwich, and you want to buy some food. So you go into the local Aldi's, like this one, and you think, I'm going to go in here and buy some food so I can feed myself. And then you approach the barrier, and look, you can't even get in the shop without having a QR code to scan here.
See, this just goes into exactly what the guy was saying about they want to have it to where you're no more than a barcode, a QR code, right? This the number of the beast right here, man. Right? And what it reminds me of is what we saw, or we still see going on over there in China, which is basically a totalitarian state, man. Meaning everyone's being monitored, right? Everyone's being tracked and traced, right? And that goes into the social credit score system that they got going on over there in China. Well, that's exactly what they're trying to push worldwide. Here in the UK, all around Europe, over there in Babylon, worldwide, man. Right? Foreclosures of all these banks we see closing down, man. I think it was Vietnam, I believe. Vietnam, and I could be wrong on this number. I believe it was like 93 different banks over there in Vietnam have closed down in the last few days, man. But not only there, right, worldwide, like over here in the UK, every time I go past a major city or I'm in an area, man, you see all the banks closing up, man. Question you people want to be asking yourself is, why is that? Why do we see these things happening? Even over there in Africa, Nigeria, all these places, we see them bank foreclosures, man. That's because they're getting ready to introduce the CBDCs, right? Hey, man, you people need to wake the hell up, man. Speaking to you Israelites, you need to wake the hell up, because we're here. Let me get that quickly. Wait. With Tari. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Right? Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And this is part of the vision that was spoke about times before, man. Everything we see going on right now is part of the visions that were foreseen in times past. And guess what? Those visions are speaking, man, louder than ever. And they ain't lying. It's not tarrying anymore. Like I said, it's here on the doorstep. We're here. We're living in those days, man. You know? So just a bit more information on the digital ID. Right, new digital ID scheme to be rolled out across the UK. The scheme will help combat illegal working, while making it easier for the vast majority of people to use vital government services, which that's a lie right there, because their convenience is really to your inconvenience. So what seems like, okay, well, this just make everything easier, just having everything on one card, not having to, carry about the passport, the driver license, all these other forms of IDs, but just having everything on the one card. until that one card becomes the chip that's inside you. This will make everything easier. You'll be able to access your medical files, right? Your bank account, everything just gonna be laid out on this one thing, right? On this one system worldwide, right? And a lot of people are buying into it already, and a lot of people are not buying into it because they understand this is like I said, it's a breach of their so-called human rights, man. Which really you have no human rights here if you ain't figured that out by now, right? So though it might seem easier, right, for the vast majority of people to just take this digital ID again, they're convenient. What's convenient for them is actually going to be an inconvenience for you in the long run. Whether you understand that or not, but time's gonna tell. Time's gonna tell. It says digital ID will be mandatory for rights to work checks by the end of Parliament. It says the scheme will be available to all UK citizens and legal residents, saving time by ending the need for complicated identity checks, which often rely on copies of paper records. So again, this sounds convenient, right? It says instead the rollout will make it simpler to apply for services like driving license, childcare, and wealth. There you go. See, while streamlining access to tax records, the new digital ID will also be held on people's phones. So hey, just at a tap of a phone, you're gonna be able to access everything, man. Which you can pretty much do that now anyway. But it's gonna be to the point where you ain't gonna be able to use anything else but that. Meaning what? You're going to become even more dependent than you are now on that thing, man. Till they roll out the chip. It says childcare, welfare, whilst streamlining access to tax records, the new digital ID will be held on people's phones, just as millions already use the NHS app for contactless mobile payments. See? It says there will be no more requirement for individuals to carry their ID or be asked to produce it. But digital ID will be mandatory as a means of providing your right to work. So like I said, a lot of decisions, people are going to have a lot of decisions to make in the time to come, man. You know, it says this will stop those with no right to be here from being able to find work, curbing their prospect of earning money, one of the key pull factors for people who came to the UK illegally. It will send a clear message that if you come here illegally, you will not be able to work, deterring people from making these dangerous journeys. The initiative builds on the government's crackdown on illegal working and its mission to control the borders as part of the plan for change. Now, see, that's bullshit right there. Because really, all it is these devils want total control, man. Like I say, they want total control of their collateral, of their stock, which is you people. Right? It says crackdown on illegal working and its mission to control borders as a part of the plan for change. Under this government, illegal working arrests have soared by 50% and new legislation is being brought forward to help stop legal working in the gig economy. The proposals also follow the government's success in deporting the first illegal migrants under the landmark UK-France returns deal last week. Right, so yeah, man, the people are fretting about this. People are worried about this, man, because they feel this is a breach of their human rights. Let me quickly see if I can bring up just one video quickly.
This government will make you.
Hi, folks. It's hard.
They were on TikTok, man. Everyone's in an uproar about this.
It's an absolute disgrace. This concept that this is to stop illegal migration, that is a lie. That is just the latest low-hanging fruit excuse that they've come up with to try and get people to buy into this, because they know the public sentiment is against illegal migration. People want it controlled. So what they're bargaining on and gambling on is there's such a fury about illegal migration that this might finally be the thing that allows us to get this over the line. They've tried to get this over the line now for goodness knows how many decades. decades. They've failed all the time. And actually, I don't bank on Keir Starmer actually being able to implement this pre-2029. So I don't imagine it's actually going to be implemented anyway, if my understanding of their ability to do this is correct.
Well, this is this is why it's beautiful that we have the scriptures. Again, because all that's going on in the world right now is simply prophecy being fulfilled. And everything is in the Heavenly Father's timing. But she's right. This is exactly what it is,
Everything that you just mentioned, Joe, you say, oh yeah, we go to supermarkets, we park. Okay. There's a really key point to that, and that is called consent. You choose.
Yes.
If you choose to go to a supermarket and have a loyalty card, you choose to give all that data away. If you choose to, I don't know.
And you know what? This is why, us brothers, speaking as me and the rest of our brothers I know speaking as men, we perceive that something major is going to have to happen, man. Right? Something major is going to have to happen. Another false flag, right? Another major false flag is going to have to take place to where it gets to the point where people are going to be willing, going to be ready and willing to take this digital all, man. They're going to be queuing up for it. They're going to be more than willing to receive this mark, man. Right? That this, again, speaking as men, that's what we perceive. Right? Esau, Edom got something in plan, right, to try and fool the whole world. Something even worse than 9/11 they're going to have to do to make everybody so scared, right, with the fear-mongering that they're going to do, to actually make them be all on board with this. To the point where anybody that ain't on board with it is going to be looked at as a terrorist or evil. Right? So yeah, man, we in them times, man. We definitely in them times. Right? Let me quickly pull Revelations quickly, and then I'll wrap it up. Revelation chapter 13. I go straight to the point. Verse 16. And it reads, and he causeth all. Right? So he is speaking about a person. Right? We know that person is, right, the man of sin, the son of perdition, which is Esau, Edom. Right? The so-called white man, the devil or deceiver the Bible speaks of. Right? So it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand. And we know, according to the Strongs, when you go into the word mark there in the Greek, the word there is charagma. Charagma meaning a physical mark or etching, which lets us know it's talking about the RFID microchip, as it goes on to say, in their right hand or in their forehead. And we already got people across, the four corners, especially over there in Europe, Sweden. Right, a lot of them have already taken that digital. A lot of them have already received that mark in their right hand. Hey, some of these devils got one in their right and their left hand. Making life convenient for themselves right now. So it seems, right? Then you got Elon, Mr. Musk, with his Neuralink brain chip, right? So it's like I said, we're here, man. This is not far-fetched. This is all biblical prophecy taking place. And the things we see going on right now in the news with this digital ID card, man, this is the build-up to this. This is the build-up to Revelations 13 and 16, man. It says, verse 17, that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. Just like when this guy tried to go into the Aldi supermarket and couldn't even enter in unless they had the QR code. So it's going to be the same thing in that day when they roll out the MOTB. Right, so you're going to be able to, it says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Right, so this where we are, man. This is where we're at. Hey, and Kahala Yahabashim Yahawashai, that we're alive to witness these things in these last days, man. It truly is a beautiful time to be alive, man. So, just some information on the digital ID and the lead up to the mark of the beast, man, being implemented. Lord willing, the lesson was edifying in some way, shape, or form. And until the next one, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahawashai, Waha, Racha Kodash, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahawashai. And shalom to the elect.